Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri from Bianca Land, and today I wanted to do a quick video comparing different types of basil that we're currently growing. I know as a gardener and also as a foodie that a lot of times there's a lot of different varieties of things, whether it be tomatoes or squash or melons or basil. And so I'm going to do a quick video here on just covering a few different types of basil that we have and then comparing the taste a little bit so you can get an idea of the differences between them. So the first basil here is spicy globe basil. And spicy globe basil is named spicy globe basil because the plant actually grows in like a globe. They're like little balls compared to like Genovese basil, which we're going to cover in a little bit. Genovese grows straight up, but the spicy globe grows in a sphere. And the taste profile is supposed to be a little bit more spicy. So let's give it a try and then give you some feedback on this. Okay, so the spicy globe, this is a mature one. This has like some of the flowering part. It hasn't quite flowered yet. But the basil is actually quite spicy. Like it's not like, I guess, hot spicy, but it has like kind of like a bite to it. And I guess that's why it would be called spicy globe. It has more of like has a little bit of like the anise black licorice taste, which I think is somewhat in the flavors of basil. But I think it's more of a strong basil flavor, similar to like what you're probably used to, which is the Genovese sweet basil, but just more of a like pungent kick and a little bit more of the basil flavor into the bite, I guess. So for this basil, this is the Thai basil. It has a little bit of a like darker stem, and then it has these just green leaves. They're more like kind of pokey or thinner. This basil itself is very different and unique. It's typically used in dishes for like pho, but we're gonna give this a try here and see what it tastes like and give you kind of the comparison between this one and the spicy globe. The flowers on these are typically purple as well, which kind of differentiates Thai basil. All right, so the Thai basil has a very sweet and mellow flavor. But the flavor itself is very like black licorice or kind of like that fennel taste. If you've had pho, this is typically what they use. This one is more native to Thailand. But again, like it's a hardier plant. The leaves are kind of like more robust to heat. And overall the flavor kind of has that licorice flavor. I like it, but it's definitely very different from a standard basil that I'm used to. All right, and next we're gonna try, this is the Dwarf Greek basil. It looks actually very similar in like size, and it grows kind of in a sphere just like the spicy globe basil. The leaves look a little bit more round, but in general they are pretty pokey or like thin and jagged just like the spicy globe. So let's give this a try and see. Okay, so this is like the spicy globe basil. It has some of that kick, but I think the like acidity or kind of like the bite to the plant actually lasts longer than the spicy globe. I think the spicy globe like spikes and then it kind of like kind of mellows out in your mouth. But I think this Dwarf Greek actually has a more potent flavor and it kind of stays there for a while before it kind of drops off your palate. And it almost has like a bitter taste. So I would not say that the spicy globe has a bitter taste, but for some reason the Dwarf Greek has more of a bitter profile to it than the spicy globe. And it's definitely nowhere near the taste of the Thai one. This has more like the earth, like grassy kind of taste to it. More like a green vegetable than a flavorful kind of like notes of like licorice like the Thai basil. All right, and then next is the holy basil. A lot of times the stems on these will actually be purple. This one's not. The flowers themselves will also be purple. So let's give this holy basil a try. Okay, so this, I think the holy basil to me, it's very sweet, it's very fragrant, but it has that mix between like the spicy globe where it's just a little bit maybe too much for a lot of dishes, but it has like the sweet mellowness throughout the flavor profile. I don't feel like it hits you really hard. It just comes up a little bit, and then it has like that kind of little bit of spice to it, but a little bit of like the basil and very sweetness kind of carrying through even to the last like essence on your tongue here. This one I think is actually my favorite that I've had as we've been using a lot of different basils. I actually didn't purchase this specifically. It came in a free seed project kit, but I actually really like this one for a variety of different dishes and cooking. And then next is the purple basil. So you can see it's like a dark purple. My leaves for some reason turn like a gold color. I'm not sure if this is overwatering, underwatering, if it's natural, but it shouldn't affect the flavor. So let's go ahead and try this one. So this one has a very bitter taste. Probably the most bitter. I'd say more bitter than the Greek basil. We're gonna try a smaller leaf, perhaps maybe a younger one. Yeah, it just has more of a bitter taste. I don't know if this is like from a watering perspective, but I've actually had it when it was solid purple as well. It's more, I guess, like a sweet basil, something you're used to, but it definitely has more bitter profile in general. This would go better probably with like a savory dish, something that like the bitterness would accent in the dish and it would actually like add to the flavor profile, but still getting the notes of the basil throughout. And then finally here, I'm sorry, these leaves aren't really big, but these are the Genovese, sweet Genovese basil. And these are what you're used to when you go to the grocery store, like the big leaves that are like very round. They're not very like jagged and kind of straight and thin, but they're more like a rounder leaf. They're usually large. This is sweet Genovese. This is probably the most common basil. These plants grow up quite tall. And I forgot to mention, but like the Thai basil, the holy basil, they also grow upwards. So it's kind of like a larger plant that comes up. Whereas the spicy globe and the dwarf Greeks grow into small balls. Let's just give this one a try and I'll give you a profile on this, but this is what all of you are probably used to. If you've had pestos, if you've been to restaurants, this is what they're feeding you. All right, so this one's a little bitter. This isn't natural. I think it's just from the watering. We're in a really hot period in the summer right now. So I would probably say that the purple basil and the Greek probably aren't nearly as bitter during normal times. But this has like I think it has a well balance of sweetness, but also a balance of more like the basil and kind of the green grassy flavor. So just to compare these across the board, the ones that have more of the licorice taste are the holy basil and the Thai basil. So these would just do, I think, better in like desserts. Again, the Thai basil and even the holy basil would stand up better to hot liquids. So if you're using these in soups, these would probably be better basils to use. The Greek and the spicy, I think, have more of a hit to them. It's more of a spike, so they might be better in like, I don't know, something that the flavor of basil, which can be somewhat subtle, might get overran. I'm using a spicy Greek, I think would be better for that. And then the sweet Genovese, which is the most common one, I think would just be great on pizzas, pastas, making pestos. But I think if you're really looking for something different or unique in a pesto, you could perhaps blend a few of these to get a different profile than you're used to. And like I mentioned, the purple basil is almost the same, I think, in taste and profile as the Genovese basil when it's not quite as bitter. But anyways, that's kind of my take on these 6 types of basils. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, until next time.